Castlecraig Hospital is one of Europe's leading hospitals for the treatment of alcohol and drug dependency. Castlecraig is located in 50 acres of private parkland and woods. As such, the hospital provides a perfect location for people to begin their recovery from addiction. For many years, Castlecraig has had a quality assurance system in place, namely ISO 9001. This covers all the medical, nursing and administrative procedures. These procedures are regularly updated and audited. The hospital is a contractor to the National Health Service and is recognised by the major medical insurers both in the UK and abroad.
Welcome to Castlecraig Hospital. Hello Lucy, nice to meet you. Welcome to Castlecraig.
At Castlecraig Hospital, each patient receives a warm welcome by a member of the nursing staff. Family members are encouraged to participate in the treatment programme. Following arrival, the patient will be shown to their room and introduced to the clinic's facilities. The family will then have time to talk to one of the therapists. Castlecraig believes that family involvement is a very important part of treatment. The focal therapist appointed to care for the patient will welcome the patient's family, explain the treatment at Castlecraig, and will answer any questions they might have. Meanwhile, the patient receives a comprehensive medical assessment.
When patients come to Castlecraig, 8 times out of 10 they'll need detoxification. This involves history taking, examination and close monitoring by medical and nursing staff. This will be hourly to begin with, and then 4 times a day within a few days, and maybe daily after a week.
During admission, each patient will be seen by the consultant psychiatrist, and their detoxification requirements will be assessed. The consultant, who is specialised in the treatment of addictions, directs and manages the medical and clinical care of the patient and the administration of all therapies.
5 minutes, that's lovely, thank you.
5
Bye.
minutes, good.
5 minutes, okay.
Following the medical assessment, the new patient meets with the focal therapist, who will formulate the patient's individualised treatment plan and guide the patient through his treatment at Castlecraig.
What the patient will experience when they first come here to Castlecraig is a comprehensive period of assessment. That period of assessment is vital to ensure that we provide the right treatment for the individual. From that period of assessment, the therapist will formulate a treatment plan that looks at the specific needs of the individual and will set up a period of interventions dealing with the whole range of things. Could be from the underlying problems that cause problems in the addiction to the very basics, which is confronting, denial and establishing abstinence. When a patient comes here, they won't be using any chemical, and that's very difficult for a chemical dependent initially. So those early stages need a lot of support, a lot of counselling, also a lot of support from the peers that surround them. Because we have patients here who are perhaps 6 weeks further along the line and know what they've experienced, so in turn, they help each other.
That we see people coming back from reunions, people who begin training here.
Group sessions led by a qualified therapist are held twice a day. A renewed sense of hope and self-esteem results from the shared experience and openness of other group members.
By being here, it's given me a bit of hope. Something happens that makes you change.
Another chemical dependent talking to another chemical dependent is able to cut through a lot of the denial because they're able to see that themselves because they've done that themselves. So they're able to confront, but they're also able not just to confront, but support and emphasise and empathise, an essential ingredient that they have support, and group therapy provides that.
Castlecraig treats addiction as a disease. The daily lectures are one part of the educational component of care, providing information about the medical and mental complications of addiction, and helping people to gain valuable insights into the illness of addiction.
Addiction is a brain disease from which recovery is possible. It's not easy, but it's always possible, and many, many people recover. Sometimes I liken it to diabetes. This is a disease which affects the pancreas. In alcoholism and addiction, the disease affects the brain. It's like a brain disease. But also, like diabetes, you need to do the right things to manage the disease and to keep it under control.
These psychotherapeutic lectures are an important part of the treatment plan. The daily lectures help patients to gain awareness of the behaviour and attitude patterns resulting from addictive disease.
The spine, if you like, of what we do here is this psychoeducation. The experience of the chemical dependent for a long, long time is that they don't know what's wrong with them. And we provide an awful lot of education and psychoeducation that tells them that they're suffering from a disease. They are not suffering from a moral disorder. They're not bad people, they're ill people. And as such, that education provides relief, it provides direction, but it provides a solution. Because if they then know that they're suffering from a disease, they can do something about it.
The therapies at Castle Craig include 12-step facilitation. Patients are counselled on the first 5 steps of the 12-step programme of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. In this way, laying the foundation towards an ongoing period of recovery and abstinence.
The 12 steps are a series of suggestions, okay, that allow us to recover from addiction.
It's a synthesis of everything that's good about therapy that I've experienced before. It provides meaning and purpose in a person's life. It provides structure, it provides a guide. And the great thing about the 12 steps is it's ongoing.
We've got to start using a different strategy to deal with the problems that life creates.
The very important thing about addictive disease is it doesn't end. It's an ongoing condition, and as such it takes the persons through their lives, and it is an ongoing resource for them. Whether it is attending meetings and looking at the steps there, or needing to take some time for them, there's always a step for the problem that person faces. And it doesn't just address the chemical, but it also addresses the personal issues that the patient is experiencing in their life. For me, it is the most comprehensive form of treatment that we can provide for addictive disease, and evidence does support that.
An important result of the 12-step programme is restoring or developing a person's spirituality.
Spirituality is a fundamental part of ongoing recovery from chemical dependence. And the term spirituality is very broad. It's not defined or limited by religion or creeds. Spirituality means finding meaning and purpose in one's lives. And within Castle Craig, what we provide is the outlet and opportunity for the individual to find their meaning and their purpose in life. And through that, there is a sense of spirituality, a sense of renewal, a sense of hope, and a sense of being able to live their lives again without chemicals. And that's what we mean by spirituality.
A fit body and a healthy diet are important foundations for recovery from an addictive disease. All patients have a minimum of 3 physical activity sessions a week. There is a well-equipped gym, and the programme includes aerobics, gym, yoga, football, Thai massage and relaxation, and visualisation therapy.
The treatment Castle Craig provides is a treatment for the whole person. It isn't just a psychological disorder. Chemical dependency plays havoc with the body as well, so we need to treat the whole being.
The kitchen staff prepare 3 meals daily, and ensure that fruit and healthy snacks are available throughout the day. The dietary regime at Castlecraig ensures that patients receive optimum minerals and vitamins.
The problem with chemical dependency is that quite often people's eating habits are out of kilter. Some eat perhaps too much, some eat too little. But the body is stripped from its nutrients, and in order to get the complete package, we need to address all of these aspects. Gym and yoga allow a person to develop a positive self-regard. Their self-esteem rises. Because they're treating their body well, and when you're fit, your brain also recovers.
Change over, so bring your other leg on top. To come forward with your arms, so you're folding forward.
So the more exercise one does, the more it encourages the body to produce its own feel-good chemicals. And those feel-good chemicals go a long way in allowing the patient to experience life as pretty good without the chemicals. A patient may arrive malnourished, unwell physically, emotionally and spiritually. So we treat all of those things. And by the end of the programme, we've got someone who is in optimum health.
To help the patients reorganise their lives, Castlecraig offers a daily structure. The schedule for the day is varied but intensive.
Structure is a vital ingredient to the treatment programme. Successful treatment programmes for addictive disease need structure. Because so often in the lives of the chemically dependent, there's no structure. The chemical dictates how they live their life. So we put in place a highly structured programme that begins early morning with some meditation and ends with some reading. And throughout the day, they're attending groups, they're attending therapeutic therapies. There isn't much time other than that to get well here.
When I was in ECU, I'll tell you a couple of stories, maybe it'll make some sense what I'm getting at, right? When I was in ECU, it was many years ago.
We know what we're talking about because many of us have been through addiction ourselves and we're in ongoing recovery. And it's essential that patients see role models, they see that there is hope and that we can live meaningful and powerful lives.
My name is Richard. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an addict. I'm the group therapist.
The fact that therapists here have lived with addictive disease themselves gives us that extra insight and allows us to see what the patient is going through. It allows us not only to sympathise, but empathise. If someone has walked in the same shoes, that patient knows, and that creates a vital relationship. And the relationship in therapy is so important because that patient needs to trust that therapist. And if they know that their therapist has experienced what they experienced, we have already halfway won the battle.
The period of intensive treatment will normally take 4 or 6 weeks, depending on assessment and circumstances. During this time, the focal therapist supports the patient through the treatment process, which includes individual and group therapy. After this period, the therapist will prepare the patient either for discharge or further treatment in the extended care unit, which is located in the grounds.
After a period of intensive therapy, many patients then go on to the extended care unit. And what we find about chemical dependency is that it takes quite a long time to get well. We also have to take care of some longer term issues. And quite often the underlying issues need to be addressed. Why the person drank, why the person used drugs, why the person is maybe prone to relapse. It is a relapsing condition. So we need to have a longer period. Extended care unit provides effective treatment for those underlying issues. The treatment at Castlecraig is a short period of time in the whole lifetime of the chemical dependent. But we need to ensure that they have the best chance of remaining abstinent. And what we do at the extended care unit is we allow patients to grow and we allow them to feel the benefits of being abstinent. But we also teach them about relapse prevention. And we teach them the skills, the necessary tools that they require to remain abstinent once they've left Castle Craig.
It's the life, it's with the heart.
In order for patients to develop coping skills for their new life, Castle Craig also provides creative therapies such as artwork, horticultural and drumming therapy. As well as promoting community building and self-expression, they also help to relieve stress and help mind focusing. Drumming is one of the most popular therapies.
The creative therapies we have here at Castle Craig allow the patient to have some self-expression. Some blocked emotions for many years have existed in that patient. And in some sense, chemical dependency has been their emotional outlet, their way of expressing themselves. We've taken the chemicals away, so we now need to give them the ability to express and the ability to feel some self-esteem in creating. Being creative is a great way of feeling good.
Another complementary therapy at Castle Craig is equine-assisted therapy, or horse therapy. For many people, this therapy helps to develop trust, communication and recognition of feelings.
Well, it's not actually about horses. Equine-assisted therapy is about the client, it's about you. Recovery from chemical dependency means that patients have to develop new ways of living life, new coping skills, new behaviour patterns. And in order to do that, in order to change what one does, one has to be aware of the things that we need to change. How it works is that the patients are given us a task to do with the horses. It's not about the task, it's not about the activity, the goal is about what goes on for the patient when they're doing this task. As that as a metaphor, can you think about when you were drinking and using, how your life fell apart? After the task has finished, we get together and we process it. And it's about, okay, how did you find that? Some of the patients will say they were frustrated, they were afraid. Some of them say it was wonderful, I really enjoyed it. Some of them say, well, I couldn't do it, the horse wouldn't let me near him. And then we look at, well, how did that feel? Equine-assisted therapy helps to highlight the behaviours that we need to change and that the patients need to change. It's a fun therapy that's really effective because it can then be continued in the therapy groups and in the one-to-one counselling sessions with therapists. So each week we can move on to something different.
Castle Craig believes that family involvement is very important for the patient and the family as well. Guest houses on the grounds of Castle Craig are available for family members to stay in during their visits. There is a Sunday programme offering the family members an opportunity to spend time with the person in treatment and to attend Alcoholics Anonymous and Al-Anon support meetings. Family members are also invited in family therapy and may attend the residential family programme.
Family therapy involves the patient and his family or her family, where the patient's progress in treatment will be discussed and the outcome and goals for the future. And it also discusses anything that there is that, like shame, guilt, to be expressed. In my experience, a great deal of shame, a great deal of pain and hurt is expressed in these sessions. Do you see a change in Andrew?
Absolutely, I really do. Yeah.
A session, it will really basically work on communication. Before there was no communication. The session will help them to start communicating, and that's the most important thing once they leave treatment.
The involvement of significant others in that patient's treatment is vital because they need to understand the disease. They need to understand what the problems are because these people or this person, they don't know what's been going on. And the more they know and the more they're involved in the patient's treatment, the better the outcome for the patient. It means when the patient goes back home that they can be supporting They know what to say and what to do. They know what to do for themselves because the effects of addiction and chemical dependency unfortunately have tentacles and they creep into the self-esteem of the whole family. We're not treating just the patient, we treat the family as well.
A 2-year aftercare plan is provided by the therapist working with the patient. Aftercare is considered essential to reduce the risk of relapse. Patients will be encouraged to attend the weekly aftercare groups provided by Castle Craig and are also provided with contacts to their nearest self-help groups of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous.
I'm going to give you the name of the next patient who is willing to help you when you leave and go back.
That'll be really good.
Yeah.
Chemical dependency is a lifelong condition. The period at Castle Craig is an intervention. We need to ensure that when our patients leave here, they're equipped with the right tools, and they need to be referred to the right people. They need to know where they're going. They need to know how to get there. So looking at the aftercare plan and finding out what triggers they have, that's an extremely important part of the whole treatment experience. And we must remember that they are individuals that we're treating here. It's not a one-size-fits-all treatment, it's an individual treatment.
Following completion of the residential programme, there is always an opportunity to return to Castle Craig for any advice or help. Continuing care includes weekly group therapy and personal therapy can be arranged. Reunions held yearly are a highlight for both staff and friends of Castle Craig.
Amazing, thank you very much. Well, good morning everybody. My name is Peter McCann and I'm the chairman of the Castle Craig Hospital, and I welcome you to our annual reunion, which in fact is our 21st. This is a day when so many of you returned to where your recovery began, and I know you will be rewarded by an inspiring day of friendship, fellowship, and sharing recovery. Some of our very first patients will be here today with over 20 years of recovery to celebrate.
When a patient leaves Castle Craig, it's not simply about them, bye-bye, thank you very much. We're here as an ongoing resource in that person's life. They're able to come to contact their therapist. They're able to talk about an issue. They're able to come to aftercare groups. They're able to come back for a weekend renewal. They're able to come back for reunions. We want to know what's happening to those patients. We want to know what's happening in their lives because we care.